And yeah, we'll get started. So thank you again for everyone for joining. This morning, after we did our vision board workshop, it was very apparent that you all love your kids very much, rightly so, and want to make sure that everything for them is going swimmingly in their life. And I thought, what better way than to put a masterclass together for what we can do for your children with Feng Shui in mind. So as a preface, these are very general tips. The best result you're going to have is having a personal report done, but give these a go first and see what difference it makes. Because why I'm saying a personal report is the best, obviously that's what I do, but depending on your home, depending on the numbers, depending on a number of different factors, different parts of the home can be bad for children. So when I help design homes, that's what I help design, make sure that the numbers are in the best places for the occupants so that they're not going to be affected. So, you know, we could do everything possible generically, but it may not make a difference because that part of the home is not good for children or good for women or good for the man of the house or anything like that. So it's multifaceted why we do the personal report. This is a very base layer. This will make a difference, but to what extent, I can't guarantee because it is very, very generic and it will be very specific as per your home. But that said, let's get started. Okay, so welcome. I'm sure you're all aware children are very susceptible to big energies that fly in. You know, we have the full moons and retrogrades and all sorts, and it can send kids off the tangents. I know it does it for me, so I can only assume it does it for small people as well. Then adding in hormones and adding in school and all the different stimulants they have day to day. There's energy around them, so we want to make sure that the home is going to be supportive as possible for them and creates a calming environment so that they can get through their day and have good sleep, good eating, study better, that sort of thing. So today we're going to be myth busting, and I'm going to give you some solutions to potential bigger problems that you aren't possibly aware of. Okay, so who am I? I'm Suzanne. I'm a certified Feng Shui practitioner. I have studied under Powerhouse Feng Shui, and I still work for Powerhouse as well as a mentor. And I do answer questions daily about people's homes. So I'm quite au fait with what's going on. I go into a deeper level also with what's actually in your home and what things in your home can actually be saying about what's going on for you. So it's not just the base level of your personal report, but what does your artwork reflect? What do your trinkets and things laying around your house, what are they actually saying to me? Artwork is really, really important, and it can have a very detrimental effect in the flow and energy in your life, depending on where it's placed and what sector of your life that could be reflected on. Okay, so let's get started. The big one, colour. Kids love colour. So children are surrounded by colour constantly, whether it's in their primary colours at school, their clothing, toys. They're constantly overstimulated in day-to-day life. So adding to this, typically the bedroom's a haven for an influx of colour. So what are the symptoms and how do we mitigate it? Okay, so typically, and I will say this as a general rule, this is, if boys like pink, that's fine. Girls' rooms typically are full of pink or bright colours. We want to avoid that where possible. So no feature walls of massively, magenta or anything like that. Keep them to this sort of muted colours where possible, if that's what they want, or very neutral and just pops of colour around. The use of fire colour can cause children to become over anxious, can cause problems with sleeping, can cause anger, arguments. So where possible, keep that to an absolute minimum. And especially, if they've got a pink bedroom plus pink doona cover, plus pink clothing, plus dolls with pink, this pink, 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 all different shades of pink, it's a lot. So if your child does suffer from anxiety, and they do have a room that looks like a candy shop has vomited in it, then maybe look to muting that down a bit. Okay, so similarly, blue. Blue is a watercolor. Water we associate with emotion, so crying, deep, big emotions. So you've got teenage boys that, they want more masculine colors, which is fine. A lot of them go towards blue. And then when hormones kick in, that's when you start getting the effect of moodiness. They won't talk. They hold on to everything. They'll have outbursts. They might stop talking to you in general. So keeping blues to a minimum. Go for more metallic colors. So the grays, it's still very masculine, but it's not going to have that connotation of emotion attached to it. And this is, teenage boys and girls, they spend a lot of time in their bedrooms. So if you're around, it's like when you're around a lot of people that are negative, you start being negative. If you're in a room that's blue, 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 or pink, 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 you're going to have the same, the mood and the emotion is going to be the same. It's going to be the fiery or anxious, or it's going to be moody or sad, depressed, that sort of thing. So for both, where possible, move towards, like, for wall colors, more metallic colors or neutrals. Earthy colors, earthy for stability, and metallic because it just weighs down the emotion. It evens it out, instead of having a bright color or something that could have an effect on their actual emotions. All right, so bed placement. Now, this is a really tricky one, but we do what we can. No home is going to be perfect unless you're building it. If you're building it, and then even if it's been built, depending on who lives in it and where you're placing the bedrooms, but we work with what we've got. Nothing is going to be perfect, but here there's a few sort of rules that I would try and stick to where possible. So this was a recent client of mine, and this was her son's bedroom. This child did not sleep. Now, take away that it's just, it's got the typical teen mess floating around. As soon as I walked in the room, I could tell why he wasn't sleeping. So he had the AC over his head. He had that little bulkhead in front of the window as well. And the bed was placed in front of the window with that red curtain. So this child did not sleep. The previous bed he had was a bunk bed, and he slept on the top bunk. So he had the ceiling pushing down on him as well. So what we did was, thankfully, we were able to turn this bed around, and it ended up actually being his power position. I will get into those a bit later, but we were actually able to turn this around into his power position. We got rid of the red curtain. We put an actual blind in, and you can see it just feels so much better. He's got a solid wall behind him. He has, so where that chest of drawers is, the door is next to it. So what we want to make sure is that there's actually no door in alignment with the head, because the energy will come in and smack the head straight. It will also cause lack of sleep. So yeah, where possible, place beds on a solid wall, timber beds over a metal bed. So if your child is currently sleeping on like a wrought iron bed or just a metal framed bed, if you're going to upgrade to a timber bed, they're more stable, it's more stable for them. If they have a bunk bed and they're not sharing a room is different. Again, work with what we've got. Get them to sleep on the bottom bunk, not the top. And if you can, put a bit of a bit of material or something underneath the top bunk, just to soften out the slats and the pressure coming down. Yeah, so if possible, don't have the bed with the door alongside where heads are positioned. So that's either right in alignment with the door or beside the door. If you have to, put a bedside table, or I'd recommend putting a bedside table on that side of the door. So that will take the brunt of any energy coming in. And also gives them a bit of protection, bit of privacy as well, rather than someone seeing straight into the bedroom and seeing them in bed. All right. So have we got any questions so far? Speak up. Put in the chat.
Makes total sense.
Good. Just any questions you've got, please put in the chat. I'll answer them as I go. Okay, so toys and artwork. This is going to be a big one for people, especially if they've got small children. It starts getting a bit better as they get older, but we all know that Christmas and birthdays, they can be quite chaotic with toys. They end up with a lot, and what do you do with them? It's toys and artwork are two of the biggest things that take up space in kids' bedrooms. And no, you don't need to put it all in the bin. There are ways for us to mitigate it becoming a massive issue. How do we do it? So before Christmas and birthdays, and this is a little bit of decluttering advice as well, before Christmas and birthdays, make it a habit to get your children to go through their own toys and let go of things that they no longer play with. This is important for smaller children as things accumulate quickly. Now we know with smaller kids, they end up getting quite bulky, the Fisher Price, toys that are quite bulky. They take up a lot of room. So just you be aware when they're really little that, okay, they've grown out of this, and start removing them. If they're no longer playing with it, just remove them. As they get older, the collection of the McDonald's toys and that sort of thing, when they're not around, get rid of it. Don't let them keep it. It's clutter. It's creating space. It's usually bright colors that are not going to be helpful. And dependent on what storage you have and how you put their toys away, if that stuff is out on display, it could be having a detrimental effect on the area and what energies are coming in. So you want to be able to not hide it, but be able to put it away so it can't be seen. So with school artwork, we all know when they go to kindy, they start bringing home their squiggles and the big pieces of butcher's paper, and they're proud of it. They want to put it on display, but you need to start giving them understand that it's one piece at a time. So if they bring home 4 pieces a week, well, that night it goes on the fridge. The next night the other one goes up and the other one comes down. If you wish to keep them, you can put them in, if you put like a folio, like that you could, put them in for safekeeping. If they want to look at them, you could pop special pieces in a frame in their bedroom and then change them out regularly. But there's also, you can use, I remember even when I was a child, my mother used to use my artwork as wrapping paper. So it's a great way for you to be able to give it to grandparents, aunties, uncles, that sort of thing. And it's obviously recycling, it's being used. The other thing you can do is give your children a memento box. So this is when they start getting a little bit older, that they can put their really special items into. So just a reasonable size box. Doesn't have to be a giant plastic tub or anything, just a nice box that they put in their, medals. If they don't want to display their medals, but put their medals in them, because kids get certificate after certificate, that they can put all those in to this box. Any things that are really special to them, that's where it goes. It gets kept in that box. And then they can take the box out and look through things at their own leisure. So it's putting it away. It's not having it on display. It's reducing the clutter, but it's not that they're having it on display and it's taking up space and their bedrooms start like heaving with things and the energy cannot circulate. Nicole, Officeworks have a magnetic A3 size frame. They have a cover that lifts off really easily. That's ideal for this. Perfect. So I'll have a look. I'll find the link for that, Nicole, and I'll put that in the email to go out. I'll just make a note of that. Cleaned up my office, now I can't find anything. A3 magnetic. All right.
We're going to get them for work for displaying the kids' artwork, and they're
Okay.
so they just flip over and you take it out, put it in. So I don't know exactly what they're called, but
That's fine. I'll
find
have a Google and I'll put that in the email I'll send out with the replay. Thank you for that. That's really good. Yeah, so there's just stuff that kids collect that you think, like, so bringing home rocks. It goes in a special box. And then ask them, you know, you can go through it with them, you know, maybe once every 6 months to take things out that they don't need. But like things like certificates, if they want to keep things on the fridge, it's one at a time. If they get 4 certificates in a week, it goes up for the day, comes down, because it just gets so much. And it's just holding up the energy for them. And it's just not beneficial.
Susan, there's a if people have the the money to buy one, or you can pick them up secondhand online. Hopefully they haven't had mold on them. IKEA has a table that's got drawers, a glass top, and in those drawers you can have, each child has, that's their special memory area, so they can put their stones, their shells, their whatever in there. As their memento, so they can see that every day, and it's covered in glass. Is that a good, bad, or indifferent?
Yeah, that'd be. I mean, obviously, when you when it comes to decluttering, you actually want to, like, I think people go, you know, they go to Kmart, they go to IKEA, and they buy all these things to store stuff in, and they think, okay, well, I've organized it. Yeah, but you've only organized your stuff. You haven't actually organized your life, and you've only just put it in a new place. So if you were to have something like that, it would just have to be managed, so that you're not just keeping stuff for the sake of keeping stuff, and then that artwork or things aren't like falling out of drawers, or, you know, it's still looking clean and clear.
We're talking about like memories, like we've gone to the beach and they come home with a bucket of shells. You can choose one shell to put in your memory. Memory section.
That's fine. That's fine. But certainly when you're going to declutter, or, you know, create a storage area, just make sure that things aren't just being shoved in there, that they are actually needed and wanted moving forward. But no, I'll have a look for that table as well, and I'll put those links in. Okay, photos. So this one's for the older kids. We know when they're going through their moments that they can start regressing back into acting like babies, you know, the arguments that carry on. So if your older children start bickering like crazy, it might be time to put baby photos away. Having images of them as young children or babies out for perusal can have them revert back to that age. So test and measure, pop them away for a little bit and see if it makes a difference to all. Can't guarantee it will work, but if they're bickering, when they're fighting over things constantly, and you do have a lot of children's photos lying around, pop them away for a while and just bring out photos of them as they are now. All right, so your trigrams. Now this one is I will be sending out the actual trigram book for everyone to go through, but I thought I would go through this particular one, so you have then an idea of how to actually read it and how to implement it for your children and yourselves. So everyone has a trigram. This dictates a number of things, including personalities, perfect job or career options, colors to wear to enhance you, and perfect directions to sit, sleep, work, and relax in. So where possible, we want to place beds in alignment with personal trigrams, and also to place desks to study the same way. So this one will be very important for teen children that are doing a lot of study in their bedrooms. But I'll go through this on the side here just so you have an understanding of how it works, and that you can then work on for your kids' bedrooms. Okay, so this, obviously the heading is the trigram number. The instructions are in the booklet how to work out what people's trigrams are. It's on your birth date. So I will preface this by saying that if your birth date is in before the 4th of February, you would be looking at the previous year, because this goes on the Chinese New Year, not on the Anglo New Year calendar. So if your birthday is, say, the 2nd of February 1980, you would actually come under 1979, just so you have an understanding of how that works. All right, so the trigram is on the top. The element for this person is water. Now, this is then reflected in the colors that they would wear, which are blue and black. So if they were to wear lots of blue and black, that will actually support them and be good for them. So water. And then the colors that feed them are gold, silver, copper, and gray. Now, that is based off the how the elements work. So gold, silver, copper, and gray are metallic colors. Water, metal creates water by way of like dew, or, you know, think of a winter morning and you go out and there's a, you know, your car's covered in dew. Metal creates water. So that's why the colors that feed you, create you, are the metallic colors. So if you're, so mine are, my colors that feed me are fire colors, and the other, I can't remember what mine are, but you'll see what they all make sense. So metal feeds, and items that, or elements that deplete, are wood and earth. So the reason they deplete, so wood uses water to grow. So plants use water to grow, and earth dams water. So that's why they deplete. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't go and sit in the bush or anything like that. It's literally the elements. So my element is earth, but I love the beach. So the beach, it fuels me. It makes me feel better. So it has absolutely nothing to do with that sort of thing. It's literally the elements. Okay, so qualities are being flexible yet focused and determined. You're empathetic, artistic, and given to deep thought, but tend to worry too much and may be overly sensitive. So that's what people's qualities are that are trigram number 1. And then these are potential career options that they might look at down the track. And this is the important stuff that we try and access where possible. So the southeast in this is a personal best direction, the best location for prosperity and great fame. So have your back to this direction for productivity. So this is where you would have your back to face for work. So your children in their bedroom, if you can have their back facing the southeast with their desk, that will be the best place to study for them. For the east, for this one is the best location for great health and good fortune, which is the best place for them for their back to face when they're eating. So if you've got the dining table and you do sit at the dining table to eat, you will be able to use this trigram to work out each person's best place for digestion and eating and health at the table. The south is the best location for family harmony, good public relationships, and longevity. So this is the perfect place for you to work out where people are for leisure. So if you're sitting watching TV, that sort of thing, the south. And then the north is the best, well, this is the best direction for the fourth one here, sorry, is the best direction for sleep. So head facing north in this instance. So these might change depending on your trigram. These will change. You'll be able to see it in the booklet I send out. But these are the 4 separate directions. Now, these are ideal if you can. But if you can't put the bed with the facing the north, but you can at the east, then that's fine. But if you can't all of them, again, it is what it is. We can't do it all the time because you can't change your home. These are ideal in an ideal scenario where possible. But if you're wanting to support your children, especially teens when they're going for their job interviews, that sort of thing, get them to wear these sort of colors here, the colors that feed you, because that will enhance their experience. So have we got any questions on trigrams at all? No.
Excuse me. Hi. Thanks for the call
Hi,
and
Jessica.
for having us. And I missed out. How do you find out how to get your triagram?
I'll be sending out the book with everything in it for you. Yeah, I was just
And
going through this
so-
so you have an understanding of what it actually means.
Okay, gotcha. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
No
Thank you.
problem. All right, so parts of the home are also specific to people in the home. So we obviously got your north, which is your career area. We've got your south, which is your fame and reputation. But different parts of the home are also reflective of occupants and also health. So this is where I'll be going through a couple of different areas that are reflective of different children, that if something's going wrong for them, have a look at these particular areas of your home, declutter, put affirmations in those areas to help them, but just be very, very aware of that parts of the home can affect different occupants as well. Okay, so the south, which is your fame and reputation, how you're seen in the world. The family relationship is for the middle daughter. So the body parts that can also affect are the eyes and heart, small intestine, blood vessels, and any illnesses could be reflective of eyes and heart problems. So be aware. So if you're middle, you've got 3 children and the middle is a daughter, and she's having any issues, clear out your south. If anyone in the home is having heart or eye problems, clear out the south. So it works on a multifaceted level. The west is your children and creativity, Gua. The family relationship is for the youngest daughter. So body parts it could affect the mouth, teeth, tongue, chest, and spine. And any illnesses reflected could be the mouth and chest or lung related problems. So when we, as I say, this is all very multifaceted. The 5 this year that we with our flying stars is in the center. 2 years ago, the 5 was in the west. And what did we have 2 years ago that came in? We had COVID. So that's why we knew it was going to be quite a big thing. And obviously it's just moved around. People are still having health issues this year. Obviously we've got really bad flus as well. So yeah, just be very, very aware of different areas of home. The northeast, which is the knowledge and cultivation. The family relationship is the youngest son or the youngest child. Body parts are hands, fingers, and arms. Illnesses, arthritis, broken hands, and problems with the spine. This is not necessarily going to happen, but it can happen. So it's not doom and gloom. I'm not saying that everything's going to go to poo for you, but just be aware of where these things are going wrong if they are. The east, which is your family and community area, is the oldest son. The body parts are the feet, throat, calves, liver, and gallbladder, and the illness can be nervous disorders. And the southeast, which is wealth and abundance, is the oldest daughter. The body parts are thighs, lower back, buttocks, knees, and shins, and the illnesses could be colds and rheumatism. So just be aware of those. All right, so I know you've all probably got questions. I do have a number of people that did send through some questions, so I will just go through those. So one of the questions here was, so actually there's 2 very similar questions. A child doesn't like sleeping in his own bedroom. He has never had to because I'm a single mum, he can sleep with me. Okay, so obviously single mum, you may, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you may want to start dating at some point. That obviously on one level is going to cause an issue if your son is not sleeping in his own bedroom. But there's potentially a reason why he's not wanting to sleep in his bedroom. The energies could well be off. So go through everything I've just talked about in here and make some changes if you need to. Just ensure there's nothing under his bed as well. We don't want anything under the bed, especially shoes or noisy toys or anything like that. Where possible, have nothing under the bed. Check what colors he has in his bedroom and how much clutter is in there. I don't know what he's sleeping in, so I don't know if it's a bunk or what it is, but just do a general clean out of his room. Get him to pick out some some linens as well that he likes. Keep obviously the colors to a minimum. If he has, yeah, this person I don't think is on the call. No, they're not on the call. I need a bit more information on that to give you further advice. But, you know, if kids have got images of DC or Marvel comics on their walls, that's quite aggressive. It's quite, well, they're, you know, they could be quite violent. They've got violent connotations, even though they're cartoons and that sort of thing. Yeah, just depending on artwork you've got on the walls as well. It could be a number of factors. It could actually just need a space clearing. That area might not be good for him. It could be the position of his bed. There could be a number of reasons why he's not sleeping in his bedroom. But so take a look at what we've gone through in this and see if anything resonates. But please get in touch if you want some more advice. I'm happy to provide that. Okay, my daughter is a highly sensitive child, is affected by the universe changes, so I'm all about learning new things and adding them to my tool belt to support it. Yeah, energy is, I think people really don't take it into account, the effect it actually does have on children, especially. They're small people, big emotions anyway, and you know, we get emotional on things, so of course kids will as well. Definitely look at bed positions, that sort of thing. That will certainly help. So yeah, won't stay in the bed for the night. Same as that first question. Has anxiety, fussy eating, and very sensitive. So again, bed positions, ensuring that the color in the room is quite muted, and fussy eating. Find out what the trigram is and put her at the table in her right position. It may make a difference. Girl, emotions up and down, fighting with me mostly, schoolyard angst, usual for teens and social media, dealing with separation of parents and fitting into dad's new family. Okay, that's big. So she's dealing with 2 different homes as well. That adds a different layer. Unless you can get dad to come on board with this as well, it is going to be tricky. But you can only do what you can do in your home, and give her the space and time to adjust every time she comes back. Boy, emotional baggage, student ban, father, stepfather only father figure he's known, can cause issues in relationships. Again, you can only sort it out in your house. Obviously, additional counselling and other healing and that sort of thing would be beneficial. But yeah, everything that I've spoken about in this webinar would certainly go a long way to helping them both. So that was the 5 questions. Any of you got any questions?
What about children with, they seem to be sensory, like don't like textures with eating. Yeah, if something is a little bit gluggy in their mouth, they tend to go bleh, you know, sort of have, if they've got, like, if they're on the spectrum, but they're not officially on the spectrum, if you know what I mean. Everybody's on the spectrum, but to what extent? How does the setup work or improve that?
It won't hurt.
Something, nothing can hurt more than it already does. It can only improve. Like sometimes you're making 2 and 3 meals so that the child actually eats something. I know a family that goes through this, that they cannot have a lot of things that have got gluggy texture or anything with grittiness in it. The child will just gag and spit it out or whatever.
I mean, kids will eat what they want to eat. And I mean, I hated vegetables as children. Like, I absolutely despise them to the point where I would not eat them. I would be forced to eat them. Do I eat them now? No, I still don't like vegetables. I mean, I eat them, but I still don't like them. But it's free will. A lot of it is free will, and you can't change it. I mean, that's more pediatric, I guess. Care.
Grazing boards, amazing thing for children. Grazing boards.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, none of this will hurt if you put it into practice. None of it. It is only going to benefit them. but yeah, there's free will and other things at play. So it's not going to change it miraculously, but then potentially having a full report done would identify what's going on as well. So that could help.
Mhm.
All right. Anybody else? Who's got the hand up? Someone's got the hand up. No?
Shelley.
Hey, hi Suzanne, thank you, that was lovely. So I was just looking at what you wrote. So Caitlin's bedroom is in the children and creativity corner, and she's the youngest daughter, so she's actually right where she should be, but she has a habit of, like, I just got them to declutter last week.
Yeah.
And so I think that helps, but it's a constant thing with her because she's very much someone that just has so much stuff everywhere. And it's almost like they can't not have a surface with something on it. Like I just find it mind-boggling that they can't leave one surface clear of stuff at all.
Yeah.
And I'm always trying to, create ways where they can put things in things and that. So I think, she sleeps pretty well. She's very well adjusted. I think the colours are probably fine, even though she was the one that wanted rainbows in her room. She can dress that way. She doesn't have to have her whole room that way. So I feel like that's pretty good. And Mackenzie's room's next door.
Mm-hmm.
She's the oldest. And so the southeast is the wealth and abundance, which is actually our bedroom corner. So I've actually worked really hard on that. So we don't have any mirrors in our bedroom. We've got kind of black, earthy tones. I've got some purple cushions. So I took the family photo out and I put just a photo of us too.
Yep.
So, and I got one of Ross's Lego boats because he loves building Lego. We've got a lot of Lego in the house. But we had all these ships. So I got this ship and I put jewels and stuff in it, and I put it in a don't know if that's just as a center, like a piece on one of the drawers. So I'm just thinking to help with Mackenzie. I really feel like all the color change worked well. So she's got a bunk bed. She sleeps on the bottom. I'm definitely going to put some material under the slats. I like that idea. I feel like she's a lot more grounded and sleeping better and spending more time in her room, which she wasn't doing since I've done from all the reds and that through to more earthy metallic colors like you suggested. I do think it worked. So do you think there's anything else I could do to help?
The only thing the only thing more is actually knowing exactly what's going on in your home. That's the only extra thing we could do. I mean, if it's working so far, then that would only enhance it further. But yeah, everything I've told you, that's to the minimum that I can really give you.
Yeah, so I've tried to take all that, which I really appreciate too, because the girls spend 1 week at their dad's and 1 week here, so they're at their dad's this week, so they have very much a different experience at either house too. So but I just try and manage the best that I can. And also I took all the childish like the baby photos of them, and I actually put more as they are now and that, so that, and I don't think the girls argue as much. They do still argue a bit, but
yeah. No, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it was being really good. And someone did comment that the energy feels better in the house.
Oh, perfect.
Well, thank you.
My pleasure. All right, well, thank you, ladies, for being on the call, and thank you to anyone who's watching the replay. If any of this has piqued your interest and you'd like to know about how you can best support your entire family, please do get in touch to arrange a time to have a chat. There are a few ways to work with me, so let's have a chat and see how that would look like for you. I have been working, obviously, that the photos I put up before of that client's son's room, the change for him has been amazing. And even going back into their home after they've put their remedies in, I can actually, it just felt lighter. So it does work. It does make a difference. Here's how you can contact me. I will get this uploaded and out to you today. Please feel free to share it around. Where do I mentor Feng Shui? I mentor obviously my my group, but I also mentor for I'm an admin for my mentor in her paid group. All right, so yeah, that's how you contact me. And yeah, I'll send this out for you today. There might be a little offer in there for you. And yeah, I hope to speak to you all very soon. But have a great Saturday, and yeah, hope this has helped you.
Thank you. As always, you're brilliant.
Thank you.